Hello and welcome to Rahman Digital Production. In today's lecture, we are going to learn a new concept, and that is the concept of list, which is very important for programmers. If we want to store the names of 100 or more students, then we must declare 100 or more variables, which is a cumbersome job. To store multiple values in a single variable, we use the concept of list in Python. Lists are one of the four built-in data types in Python used to store collections of data. The other three are tuple, set, and dictionary, all with the different qualities and usage. Lists are also known as one-dimensional array. In Python, lists are enclosed in square brackets. Each element is separated with comma. Let us understand this concept with the help of a program. Forces is equal to force. You can see it is enclosed in square brackets. The first element is force. The second element is weight, which is also a force. The third element is mass multiplied by acceleration. That is also a force. F is equal to ma. Now I want to print the list, and that is forces, so it will print the list. Let us print this with the help of Jupyter Notebook. Here is in the first cell I have written that program, which is this one, and it is saying that forces is equal to the first element is force, which is having an index of 0, and that is a second element which is having an index of 1, and this is the third element which is having the index of 2. So if I want to print the forces, it will print the forces. How? Let us run this cell. So you can see that forces, this whole list is printed. The square brackets are also printed. There is a technique through which we can remove these brackets, but for the time being we are not concerned about that. We are just concerned about how to print the list. As you saw in the output, that force, weight, mass, acceleration is printed with the single variable forces. Let us go to the slides, and here we are understanding that list item are indexed. The first item has index 0, the second item has index 1, and so on. List item are ordered. This is one property of the list. What does it mean? It means that the last entered item will be placed at the end. It will not be separated, it will be in order. The second property is list item are changeable. What does it mean? It means that we can add, remove, or change an item. And the third most important property is and allow duplicates. Yes, unless duplicate value is allowed, item can be repeated. How? Let us understand that with the help of a program. Forces, first item is force, second is weight, third is mass into acceleration, and the fourth one is repeated. Force is the first element as well as the last element of this list. So yes, an item can be repeated inside the list. Let us run this program in Jupyter Notebook. In the second cell, you can see I have written that program force. is equal to force, weight, and this. Let us run and see the output of this in that cell. Yes, it is printed without giving any error. So yes, let's can accept the repeated element as well. Now next is determining the length of the list. If we want to understand that how many elements are there in a list, then we will use a special function, special method that is called length. So to determine that how many items are there in the list, we use the length function. Let us understand that as well with the help of an example. I have written that program again, only I increased it with a keyword length of the forces. And because there are four elements inside this forces list, so it will give you the answer as 4. As we can see in this cell that forces is equal to 4 elements, and let us run. You can see that the 4 element is given to you as the answer. Now next is the data types of a list items. Let us understand data type of a list item. First, there is a list subjects in which I have written physics as the first element, biology is the second element, and chemistry is the third element. In the second, we entered even num, that is 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. In the third one, there is Boolean true, false, and false again. So if I am going to print these, so yes, subjects will be printed, even number will be printed, and the Boolean data type will be printed. Let's understand this with the help of an example, and that is here. So if I run this, they will print physics, biology, chemistry, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, true, false, false is expected. So the data type is the same here, physics, biology, and that is a string. The second one is integer 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 because they are stored inside it. So the data type will automatically become integer. And the third one, because true false values are entered, so it means that will be Boolean. And they are printing exactly in the same fashion. Let us understand list can be of different data types. Here in the list, there is physics, there is biology, and there is chemistry. Here, even number and Boolean, they are integer and Boolean respectively, but it can be of different data type. Here, if I am saying list, the first one is string, the second element 29 is integer, third element is false, again 33 is an integer, again female is a string. So if I am printing the list, it will print whatever entered in the list. So different data types are entered inside it. Here I am saying that Alina, and this 29 false, 33 female. If I run this program, then it will give you Alina 29. So yes, different data type can be inserted inside a single list. As you can see that there are integers and there are strings inside that as well. Let us talk about the data type of a list as well. So the next topic is the type of the list. From Python's perspective, lists are defined as objects with data type list. To determine that what is the data type of the list, we use type. Now here is a technical word use objects, which is beyond the scope of this lecture. It is totally dedicated to object-oriented programming. When we reach the concept of object-oriented programming, which is totally based on classes and objects, then we will discuss that. By default, list is a class whose type is list. If we want to see that what type of list is there, then we will run this program in Jupyter Notebook. As you can see here that I have written forces, force, weight, acceleration and mass product, and I want to see that what is the type of this forces. Is it an integer variable? Is it a string, boolean or real data type? So let us see the result of this by clicking this button. So it is saying that this is a class and its data type is list, as I told you. So this is an object and it is instantiated and it is list. So now we learned that how to determine the data type of the list. Let us move further. The list constructor. Now constructor is also a technical term that is associated with the classes. In classes, when we declare a variable, so constructor must be created for that. That is a constructor function. So whenever you are instantiating an object, first the constructor is called for that object. In constructor, we are initializing the values of different objects. Constructor is a special method that is used to initialize objects. The constructor is called when an object of the class is created. It can be used to set initial values for object attributes. Let us see this program. There is a list with the name subjects and I created this with the constructor, and this type of initialization is called constructor. You can see that instead of using this square brackets, we use the parenthesis here. So attention must be paid to these parentheses instead of this when you are using it as a constructor. So in this case, physics, biology, chemistry are the elements, and if I want to print the subject, it will exactly print the subject as was in the previous elements. So here is subject and I use those parentheses instead of the square bracket. Let us run it and see the result of this as well. Yes, it is printing physics, biology and chemistry as exactly it was expected. So less constructor can also be used with the less to initialize the less elements. That was the whole story for today. Thank you very much for your time.